But we have a half day and you have the afternoon to do whatever it is you want to do in and around Boston. You may have noticed in your program that there's a list of the top 12 things to do. I can't promise you that that's been empirically verified, but it is 12 interesting things to do in Boston. The only thing I would warn you about, just because I'm a good Jewish mother, is that it's going to be extremely hot today. It's going to be 100 degrees, I'm told. And so whatever you do, just make sure to drink a lot of water and be careful and not exhaust yourself. We don't want any dehydrated constructivists. That would be a bad thing. But have a good afternoon. Enjoy the sessions this morning, and then get out there and do some fun stuff, and then we'll come back tomorrow and do some more. All right. So, should I just go through them in order? Yeah. Okay. Some of them I don't have to do anymore. Briefly, we're going to have just Bob Niemeyer jump up here and talk about the Spanish-speaking lunch that he's been coordinating, and he's going to do that for us.
Mañana a mediodía, a las 12:30 y media, vamos a organizar un almuerzo de hispanohablantes, una mesa que incluye todas las personas de varios países que les gustaría participar en una charla durante el almuerzo. Si les gustaría participar con Jesús y nosotros, solo indica con las manos ahorita. Sí, y podemos incluir también los brasileños y portugués hablantes. So how many Spanish speakers would like to take part in this luncheon? Unfortunately, I guess only a few of us are here, but there are several others who, yes, your students would also be interested. So we'll try to make reservations for about eight people at about 12:30. So, all right. And we'll simply meet out here on floor 3 and then go down.
Thanks, John.
There's a couple of other announcements here about various items that have been lost and or found. They're all found?
Except the stylus.
Except the stylus. So if you're looking for your stylus, we have it.
No, we don't have it.
Oh, we don't have it. You know what the stylus is. Okay, the stylus is not found, but all the other stuff's been found and returned to whoever it needs to go to.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Anything else? Oh, you wanted me to talk about the Liberty parking, or the Liberty Hotel, where the gala dinner is tomorrow night. If you do drive over there, we called and we found out that the parking is $15 to $20 for 3 hours. Is that right?
No.
No.
Sort of classic Boston fashion. I couldn't get a straight answer. So it's $15 for the first 3 hours, and then over that it'll be total around 20. So, and then the first person said a few dollars more, and I said, well, a few dollars more per hour? I don't know. It was a whole thing, but $15 to $20. Valet parking only.
Okay. So if you're
Which
doing
is actually
that,
cheap in Boston.
Yeah, that is cheap, because I think if you parked here for the hotel, it's $27 a day, right? Which is why.
Which is also really cheap.
Cheap for Boston. Okay. So I think that's all. I'm going to just briefly introduce Jack now. I've said to people informally that the thing that for me has made organizing this conference so much fun has been doing it with Jack. That was the only reason I kind of wanted to do it in the first place. I thought, this is an opportunity to work with Jack. It's been a lot of fun, for me anyway. The only problem is that Jack actually has to work with me. And I think that's generally been good, and he's been incredibly patient. I was going to try to give you a little dramatic reenactment of what he's had to deal with in working with me. This is it's very brief, but I think it summarizes it well, and it's extremely well acted. All right? You ready? All right. This is what Jack's had to deal with on the phone many times. And that's about it. So he's had the patience of a saint. Especially when we had to change locations, and he basically had to walk around Boston finding conference centers and calling me every 10 minutes, and I'm like shouting orders at him, like, that will not do, you know? So he's been amazing, and I'm going to turn it over to him, and he's going to introduce Alan, and thank you to William Shatner. I'm sure that's not the first time somebody's done that with you, right?
Not in this format.
Oh, okay.
It's also a track band.
Well, I thought you'd appreciate it.
And you weren't that bad. Good morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Well, ready to go? Okay. So I'm going to do this quick. I'm very excited to have Dr. Ellen Kashak here, who is a former professor of mine, someone who I consider a friend and ally, an amazing colleague that's been really important in my life, and it's hard to convey. I'm actually feeling nervous doing this introduction because of just how important she's been to me and to my learning, and certainly to many other people. When I was putting together this little spiel, I was thinking of this song, which I'm really not enamored of, but it's, some of you remember this kind of corny song, I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool. Again, not a song that I'm particularly interested in, but Ellen was definitely construing and constructing before constructing and construing was cool. I don't know if it's actually cool or not, but if it is, she was doing it before it was, and before it was called that. Ellen has been a professor of psychology at San Jose State University since 1974. She was also the chair of the Marriage and Family Counseling Program, where I was extremely fortunate to be trained by her there. She's known as one of the founders of the field of feminist psychology, and her work is radical, systemic, epistemological. It crosses many of the areas that many folks in this area, in this room, are very interested in. She's won a number of awards, has contributed to several books. One book that really was profound for me and for many others, which won a lot of awards, is her text, Engendered Lives. Many of you may be familiar with that text. She's a researcher, a clinician, an editor, a consultant. She's been doing a lot of work in Costa Rica for the last several years. If you have some time to chat with her after the presentation, you should definitely talk to her about that. It's really, really interesting. She's published in multiple areas: multiculturalism, diversity issues, health, domestic violence, LGBT issues, spirituality, and today she's going to be presenting her work on mattering and talking about some of the connections between feminist epistemology and constructivism. So please welcome Dr. Ellen Kashak.
I'll try to live up to that. New reading glasses. Check this out. Thanks. So I'm happy to see all your shiny constructive faces today, especially on the third day of the conference, and I'll try to keep you engaged and entertained and stunned, maybe. I'm glad Jack said the F word first, so I don't have to be the first one to say it. But I am going to talk to you about feminism, and really talk to you about the path that I took to get here today, and all the places where our paths overlap, where I'm assuming that they overlap. I will say, because Jack said to me, I'm only telling this anecdote because Jack said to me, if you mention Kelly, everybody will love you. And so I actually went to Ohio State University in 1969 to study with Kelly and Rotter. And the program had completely collapsed, those of you that go back to that day, and they were nowhere to be found, and it was a completely different experimental program. So I don't know what kind of constructivism I would have been doing had they been there, but you'll see where I found my way to without the two of them. What I'm going to talk to you about today is a little bit about that history and some of the concepts that I'm working on now and how I got here. So the work that I'm doing now, I'm calling the mattering map. And I'll explain to you why. Or sometimes theory M, because we have the mattering map, multiplicity, metaphor, and morphing. It was late at night when I named this. I can't explain it other than that, but an easy way to remember it is all the M's. So, I want to talk to you today about an intellectual approach, a political analysis, and a liberation movement. They all had the same name, feminism. I was part of that movement, and I've all these years used the methodology of feminism, feminist critical theory and epistemology, to develop an approach, a perspective called self in context or contextual therapy.